Hey everyone, welcome to English with Miss V. Today's topic is in, on, at. What's the difference? There is a big difference because depending on which one of these prepositions you use can totally change the meaning of what you're trying to say. So we are going to learn all about it and I'm going to give you a lot of examples. There are rules on when to use these words and when, but there's also, of course, exceptions. I'm sorry. So we'll talk a little bit about the exceptions and the rules as well. So tune in. Okay, let's start with in, okay? So in is used when something is enclosed or surrounded or inside a space, okay? So remember this. It's used when something is enclosed, closed in, inside a space, okay? Or surrounded. It's also used for longer periods of time. So when we're talking about long periods of time, for example, months, years, centuries, okay? So this is when you would use in, okay? You might want to copy this down. Let's look at some examples though. For example, the milk is in the fridge. We say in the fridge because the milk is inside an enclosed space. The milk is inside the fridge, okay? So that makes sense. She's in the car. She's inside the vehicle, okay? She's in an enclosed space. She's inside the car. So that makes sense. Or you might say, I was born in August. In August. Okay? And we use in because it's a longer period. We're talking about a month. Okay? August is a month. So keep that in mind. Also, side note, in English, the months begin with a capital letter. I don't think they do in Italian, or the days of the week don't start with a capital letter. In English, months, days, so the names of the days, the names of the months, all must start with a capital letter. So don't forget that. All right. So these are some examples of the 3 different ways that we used in. So in this case, it was inside an enclosed space. Here, she was inside the vehicle. She was surrounded. She was inside a closed space. And here, it was a longer period. We were talking about the month of August. So we say, I was born in August. If you have a notepad, copy these down. It will really, really help you. Okay, common mistake. Now, this is the one that came to my head straight away because everybody makes this mistake. And I know why. I get it. I really do. We just talked about how you would say she is in the car, right? So then we should say, I'm in the bus. The bus is a vehicle. It's a closed space. No, do not ever say, I'm in the bus, okay? No, you will not sound fluent in English. You must say, I'm on the bus, all right? So this is one of those cases where you would say on, I'm on the bus, okay? And we say on the bus because we're talking about public transport, okay, which is an open thing. It's a public thing, okay? So even though you are inside a vehicle and enclosed space, when we are talking about public transport, we always use on. I'm on the train. I'm on the bus, okay? So just keep that in mind. I know it's hard. This is one of those kind of exceptions, all right? So do not say I'm in the bus. Make sure you say I'm on the bus. Very common mistake. Okay, let's talk about on now. So on is used when something is touching a surface, okay? So it's touching the surface. Oh, my finger was on the button, and that's why it changed. All right. So it's used for specific dates and days of the week as well. So when we are talking about dates, okay, like on the 5th of August, for example, that's a date, all right? And days of the week, on Monday, on Tuesday. We also use on for technology or communication. Highlight this, super important. I'm on the phone, okay? I'm working on my laptop. It doesn't mean that I'm on my laptop, like standing on my laptop. In this case, it just means I'm working on my laptop. It means that I am using my laptop, all right? So write these down, so important. So again, we use on when something is literally touching a surface, okay? It's used for specific dates and days of the week. And it's also used when we're talking about technology and communication. So now I'll give you an example of each of those different ways, okay? So the book is on the table. It's touching a surface. The book is literally on top of the table, okay? The book is on the table. I studied on Monday. So this is when we're using a specific day. So I studied on Monday, or I worked on Tuesday. So we use on when we're talking about a specific day. I'm working on my laptop. We just talked about that. It's because we're talking about technology, all right? I'm on my phone, okay? You're always on your phone. She's on a call, okay? So that's communication. She's talking to someone. She's communicating with someone. So you would say she's on a call, all right? On a call. That little sentence will make you sound so fluent in English. Rather than saying she is having a phone call, we would just say she's on a call. This little sentence will make you sound fluent in English, all right? Just knowing that you can use on when you're talking about communication, all right? At. Let's talk about at. At is used for specific locations and points in time. Please write this down. So specific locations and points in time. It's also used for events and places where people gather together. All right. So that might not make sense now, but when I show you a few examples, it will make sense. So again, at is used for specific locations and points in time, but it's also used for events and places where people gather together. Examples. She's at the door. I'm talking about a specific point. Okay. She's at the door means that she is currently standing very close to the door. She's at the door. Okay. Let's meet at 5 p.m. Remember, we're talking about a point. We're talking about a time. Points in time. So here we're talking about exact time. Let's meet at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. is a point in time. So we use at. Let's meet at 5 p.m. I might say they're at the supermarket. So we're talking about a specific place. They're at school. They're at the supermarket. So I'm talking about them being at a specific place. So we talked about there. Okay, so remember, this is one of the most annoying things. If you don't know you're there, and there, you need to learn it. Go back to my other lesson and learn about that. Okay, so remember this there, okay, is a contraction. They apostrophe R-E. So it's made up of two words, they are. So that's why I used this word in this case. I'm really saying they are at the supermarket, but I can make it shorter and say they're at the supermarket, okay? Anyway, so she's at the door because it's a specific point. She's at a specific point, okay? Let's meet at 5 p.m. I'm talking about an exact time, okay? So I say at 5 p.m. And lastly, they're at the supermarket. That's a specific place, okay? At the supermarket, at school, at the beach, at the library, okay? Note those down. Common mistake that a lot of people make is saying I'm in home, all right? It's a common mistake. Don't say it. When we are speaking English, we always say I'm at home, all right? We don't say in home. It's just an exception. I think a lot of people say in home because they think it's an enclosed space, okay? Which we said before, we use in when it's inside an enclosed space. So technically, yes, when you're at home, you're inside a space, okay? And it's an enclosed space, but we don't use that, okay? We use at, just like when we would say, I'm at the supermarket, at school. We also say, I'm at home, not in home, at home. Okay, let's do a quick practice. So again, fill in the blanks. Pause the video here if you want, and then fill in the blanks, and then we can come back later and correct it together. So, we'll meet the airport. The book is the shelf. My birthday is August. Have a go. Which preposition would you use for each sentence? All right, let's go through it together. We'll meet at the airport. So you should have written at. Hopefully you can see that. We'll meet at the airport. Okay, that was the correct answer. Tick if you got it right. The book is, so it's on a surface, it's touching a surface, so it's on. The book is on the shelf. My birthday is in August. Okay, remember when we're talking about longer periods of time, we use in. My birthday is in August. Okay, not on August. My birthday is in August. Practice makes progress. So don't worry. All right. There's more. Sorry. So, which preposition would you use? Would you say, let's meet in Friday? Is Friday talking about a longer period of time? No, it's one day. Okay. So we would say, let's meet on Friday. She's waiting on the restaurant, she's waiting in the restaurant, or she's waiting at the restaurant. I would say she's waiting at the restaurant. Okay, she's waiting at the restaurant. In this case, if she was actually inside of the restaurant waiting for you, then you could say she's waiting in the restaurant. That specifically means she's inside the actual restaurant. Okay, she's not just at the restaurant, she's literally inside. So she can't be outside of the restaurant. If you're saying she's waiting in the restaurant, you literally mean that she's inside the restaurant. So you could actually use that. But in general, I would be happy just to say she's waiting at the restaurant. Okay? So give yourself a tick if you got those correct as well. Right, good. Let's move on. Challenge mode. So this is an extra challenge if you would like. Describe your weekend using in, on, and at. So I want you to have a go at using all of those prepositions to write about your weekend. Now, of course, you can just totally make it up, but the point is I want you to try using each of those. So for example, I woke up at 8 a.m. had breakfast in the kitchen, and met my friend on Saturday. So at 8 a.m., breakfast in the kitchen. The kitchen is a part of the house. So you would say in the kitchen, in my bedroom, in the lounge room. Okay. So that's why we say in the kitchen. And met my friend on Saturday. All right. Have a go at writing one or even more sentences, changing it up, but using in, on, and at throughout the whole sentence. Really have a go. Practice makes progress, guys. So if you don't fully understand it just yet, that's okay. Go back, study, practice, practice, practice. All right, extra challenge. You have 30 seconds to list as many places as possible and use the correct preposition in, on, or at. So what I want you to do for this extra challenge is to put a timer on for 30 seconds and just write down a list, as many as you can, okay, of places. And at the front of the place, I want you to use the correct preposition in, on, or at. For example, I'm in a cafe, at the counter, on a chair, at school, in the kitchen, at home. So they can just be 2 words. Great. Just write a list of as many of those as you possibly can, thinking about whether to use in, on, or at. Okay. So put the timer on for 30 seconds. This is an extra challenge should you wish to accept it, and write down as many of these as you possibly can within that 30 seconds. Well, everyone, that's all we have time for today. If you would like to check your homework with me or check if you got those challenge questions correct, why don't you go ahead and book your one-on-one private lesson with me? Click on the link in the description to do that. Also, I really hope that you guys just learned something today, that you took down some notes. Always remember that practice makes progress. So just keep on practicing and you will progress even if it's slow.